Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Talking with T. I'm your host, Christopher Tatarian, and today we go an absolute banger of an episode. I'm talking to my good friend, one of the most genuine people that I've ever met within the fighting game community, just an all-around loved person within the FGC. I'm talking about Mr. Mike Ross. Welcome, Mike, on the show.
Hey, thank you, man. I seen you putting out work out there, so I appreciate you hitting me up, even asking me to be a part of this. This is dope.
Yeah, of course, man. I mean, we even talked back in the day about like doing something like this in the future. Obviously, you had cross counter and we're going to dive into that, but I always wanted
Mhm.
to, use the voice and figured this would be the best way to get my foot in the water.
That's right.
But
That's right.
anyway, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm good, man. It's been just been an interesting what can I say, a couple of years and whatnot. But
Yeah.
yeah, today's just chilling, man. That's all it pretty much comes down to these days.
Oh yeah, I'm
A
glad.
lot of
I'm glad
that.
you're chilling, man. All we need is peace of
Hmm.
mind. But
That's
let's
right.
I want to start off by
Mhm.
talking about how I actually met you. Like it's been a long time, man. It's probably 15 years ago. But if I'm not
Whew.
mistaken, we met at Wednesday Night Fights around the year of
Yeah.
2010 to 2011, like in that super era. And,
Hmm.
we became very good friends very quickly. And it was just nothing but respect from day one. And that's something that I always admired about our friendship was that you've always been very respectful, at least with me. And but I know that you
I'm gonna
you
touch on that in a second. I'm gonna
yeah.
touch on that. But go ahead.
Okay,
What's
yeah,
up?
yeah. But I mean like obviously I think we had played maybe online as well. I'm not sure. But we go way back and I'm just glad that you're still somebody that I can see and say what's up to at tournaments and we always have good vibes whenever we see each other.
Mhm.
Uh I wanted to start this off by also, you know, asking you about your upbringing because that's something that I'm not aware of. We
Mhm.
haven't really talked about your childhood like that, just as homies even. But I'm
Ooh,
sure your fans would want to know like your upbringing and the type of personality you had as a kid that led you to, fighting games and then competitive fighting games and how you fell into
yeah.
the scene and that entire journey. Definitely want to get into that and also want to figure out
Mhm.
why you would play Honda. That is a very
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like your personality, like that character just does not seem like that's Mike Ross right there. But Honda has become
Yeah.
synonymous with Mike Ross, so or
Yeah.
vice versa. So
Mm.
yeah, go ahead and let the people know like how were you raised? Like what was that like?
That's it. I like that question. I mean, well, no, you don't know. That's why I'm telling you, I guess you could say. Um, but it was pretty, I don't really have any complaints. Um, and so I guess you can say kind of how it all really kind of kicked off is, how I kind of even got hooked into the games and such is I had broken my leg when I was like 3 years old. Um, trying to imitate some skateboarding moves that I had no business being on.
Okay.
And so once I was immobile for a while, I guess my dad was like, "Dang, well, both of my parents they were just like, what can he do? He's stuck. He's three. He's got to get out and have fun. Let's buy him a Nintendo or something."
Ooh.
Um, so that's kind of like how I got first introduced to the game. But um, it was just a mix, man. I was a mix of indoors and outdoors, either playing, football, baseball in the streets or something, or playing games on the inside. But when I was playing games, it wasn't like, as physically challenging, but there was still that. I don't need to explain it to you. There was still that challenging aspect to it.
Right.
Um, and it wasn't until, fast forward a number of years when I would have to walk to school and what was the game at the time? X-Men versus Street Fighter?
Okay.
I think yeah. Once that
Around what
dropped,
age?
and
What age were you around this time?
oh, I was like the 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 really old folks are gonna laugh when they hear this because they're gonna call me a youngster. I was what like 12,
Okay.
13,
Okay. Okay.
something like that. Feeling young, but now I realize, feeling old, but I realize just how young that was at the time.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, like after school, when I would walk home, I would just stop at like the donut shop or Video 94 and just play over there.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until let's say Marvel 2, once that dropped, that's when somebody at Video 94 said, "Man, you should go to Golfland. Like, you're not bad." And this was around 2000 at the
Wow.
time, 2001, I think. And that's the rest was history. I mean, it was going from a room. Again, you will understand this. I guess everybody watching this will probably understand this. That feeling of playing with like 3 to 4 people, maybe 5 people,
Yeah.
and then you go somewhere else and you find out now there's almost 200 people in the. Or let's just be realistic. There's almost 100 people in this room
Yeah.
that all share the same intensity and passion that you do.
Hmm.
It's instant hook, right?
Yeah, dude.
Instantly.
Instant. There's so much like masculine,
Mm.
toxic, like ego. And I use the word toxic, not like toxic
Mm.
masculinity. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
like ego. There's just
Mm.
this grit, dirty players. You know what I'm talking
Mm.
about? There's dirty
Mm.
players. There's the scumbag players. There's the players that'll like hate you in the middle of the round type players. There's just that
Mm.
competitive
Mm.
drive of
Mm.
sweaty, smelly dudes. Keep
I
going.
like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I guess when you probably came around, yeah, it devolved into that point.
yeah. No, absolutely.
I remember. I mean, when I went there, I kind of saw it different. I'm seeing Rena Morse there, and she was bodying people in Marvel too. I'm like, oh no, this is all walks of life, like in this. But nobody cares. They only care about what you see on the screen.
Right,
What can you do?
right.
And like you're talking about me personally, it's like, yeah, I wanted to style, but I'm always joking, always playing jokes, even in school. In my time in high school, it was just like three things, two things, three things: jokes, uh, analyzing rap lyrics, and and the game. That was it.
I like that
So
second one. We're gonna have to dive into that in the
yeah,
future.
yeah. So like, when I'm going to these tournaments still, I'm still looking around and I'm thinking of all the potential with jokes here, all the potential with, memorable lines, and at the end of the day, it's all about the game. So those kind of thoughts never really left my head. And while I'm playing, what I'm also seeing for the first time is screen names coming into real life, because nowadays when you see a player's name, you see their face almost instantaneous with it. Whereas, I'm from the era where it's like you had to match them up, and it's like, oh,
Yeah, of
that's so and
course,
so, oh,
of
that's so and
course.
so.
Yeah.
But now it's like that's all presented to you instantly. You don't even know what that mystique is even like anymore. It doesn't exist, which is not a bad thing. It's
Yeah.
just different.
Let me say
Um,
something real quick.
okay.
In my first Evo, I used to troll people and say that I was Black Hawk Down, the Ken player from Street Fighter 4 Online, and that way I could money match people all day. I literally went to Evo with $0, broke $0, and I made
Yes.
$600 in the first day. It was the crazy, and I was like, what, 15 at the time, 15 or 16 at the time. It was crazy, man.
Black Hawk
Black
Down.
Hawk Down, and he was known to be like a wild Ken player online. So like, I was like, I knew how to sucker them into thinking that, oh, this is
Oh
a free
man.
ass win. Nah,
Yeah.
nah, but
That's genius.
bro.
That's genius. Just create an account where you just intentionally play wild and say that's you.
But I didn't. No, I didn't create that, and that was an actual person,
Yeah.
Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's
You
actually a
just
really
took the
good
credit.
idea. Yeah, yeah, that's a really good idea.
Right.
But you're right though, man. Like the
Mhm.
era of like meeting Brent for the first time, meeting Filipino man
Mm.
for the first time, like they were
Mhm.
just Xbox live tags. Zill
Mm.
grinds, the homie
Mhm.
Zill. A lot
Mm.
of people, you just meet them for the first time, and then you're just like, oh shit, like this is what this person
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's just interesting.
Yeah.
That's very,
No.
very interesting how that
Yeah.
no longer is a thing.
Yeah. So, and also to answer you as well, I'm playing Marvel, and when I was playing Marvel, I wanted to, play all these characters. You're just having fun in the beginning, and then once you start getting real competitive, you want to play characters that are viable, characters
Yeah,
that are strong.
right.
Yeah, I know. Coming from me, hey, this is weird, right? I'm playing
Yeah.
like Sentinel, Storm, and Commando and stuff like that, trying to win.
Mm.
And then, after doing that for what, 7, 8 years, nine, let's say 9 years, um, when Street Fighter 4 came out, it's like, you know what? This game is really fun. It's at Super right now, and there is an hour-long wait. I don't know. Did you ever go there when Super Arcade first got Street Fighter 4? And it was
Um,
like an hour-long wait. They
no,
only had one setup.
no. I found out about about Super Arcade like some
Uh-huh.
months down the line of Super Street Fighter 4.
Okay.
Yeah, so
When Vanilla dropped, it was like an hour-long wait. So,
wow.
I mean, this is just first playing the game, you know, but they had it before, sorry, they had it before it came out on console. So, because it was the arcade release.
Right.
So I remember getting there and I'm like, dang, I got to play twice today. You know, like that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I lost right away. So one thing I was doing is I was like, all right, the benefit for me is Super Arcade was 5 minutes from my house. So I said, I'm gonna set my alarm. I'm gonna get there as soon as it opens, and I'm just gonna like experiment with characters. And you know, I was playing a bunch of different ones, but then I went to Honda because I played him in Super Turbo. I was like, why am I not trying him in Street Fighter 4?
Yeah.
And it just clicked instantly. I'm just used to it. And why I picked him is because I always thought it was, you know, being a kid when Street Fighter 2 first came out, I always thought it was a cool concept. I'm like, well, if we're, you know, if you're doing a fighting character and you have a move called 100 hands, don't you want to hit him with 100 hands? Like, don't you want more hits the better? So, so that
That's
was my logic in wanting to play him. And then,
that's
yeah,
actually
once I
crazy.
started, once I started winning, I was like, I can't stop now, and I'm just gonna make it work. I don't care, you know, how bad he gets.
Yeah.
I'm gonna figure it out
You
because
fell
I
in love with the
thought,
character.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also with yeah, at least the way you know, the way four was designed, not knowing how five, you know, five, six, or anything else, just with four because that's the only game I knew. I just felt like any character could win. Some matchups were hard, but I felt like any character could win.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's crazy. That is an
Hmm.
interesting Honda story.
Hmm.
You know, you were a genius as a kid. I just wish your father threw a couple of Dukins at you so you had to learn how to like, you know,
Yeah,
just a couple of Dukins could
just
make
a
that
couple.
Honda. Yeah, you gonna slap them Dukins or what?
Yeah.
Fireball, sure you could. Nah, you're
Yeah.
not.
Nah, look at my Creed. He liked Blanca. That was his favorite character.
Oh, okay, I see. But I
So you
mean,
know.
like the Honda, you, if I'm not mistaken, you also made top 8 at Evo
Oh yeah. You know.
for Super Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
That
I'll
would,
tell you the
yeah, yeah, go
coolest part
ahead.
about that
Yeah,
was just on the drive to Vegas, because you know us being from SoCal, we make that 3 to 4 hour drive.
right.
Um, and I remember right as I crossed getting into Las Vegas, right before I got into it, I was on the phone with Peter with Combo Fiend, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you know, you play whack enough. This is your year to get top 8."
Oh my God,
That was all the motivation and confidence I needed to hear. I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll get it." And then yeah, that was fun. At
man.
least I'll always have that.
Yeah,
Whether
no.
that'll happen again,
Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the
okay.
episode,
All right, yeah, I don't want to
you know,
jump the gun.
you have accomplished something that even I have wanted, and pretty much every player that has played fighting games has wanted an Evo
Mm,
medal. And to say that you are one of those that have that, it's like having the gold jacket
yeah,
in golf. You know, just the medal itself, the Evo Top 8 medal is an amazing accomplishment.
yeah,
And obviously, would have been better if you won it, but it is what it is. You ran
yeah, of
into,
course,
you know,
of course.
other top tier
Can you give me
characters.
20? Can you give me 20 seconds?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm tired of people asking about this. Give me 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Chris, you see that? Let me show you. Let me explain to you what I'm showing.
Okay.
Still sealed in the box, the gold stick.
Oh my God, the gold stick.
Never opened, never touched, because people are like, oh, you know, oh, you sold it, huh? You sold it. No, I'm not selling this.
Damn, that
That's forever.
belongs in
That's
the
something I got
museum right
forever.
there. That's crazy.
Yeah, I
No,
have I don't have, you know, I was doing stuff for what? A very long time. That's like the one of the only pieces of memorabilia that I actually kept. So
no, that's an
I mean,
amazing
it
thing to
means so
keep.
much.
That's something that you give to your
Mhm.
kids. You know, that's just,
Yeah, right, yeah.
you know, like I don't just put
Exactly.
my ashes in that one and then hoist it up.
Right.
I'll be with
Oh,
you
that'll be so
in every
sick.
tournament. That would be sick as hell. An ashes
Put
tray
the
in your fight
ashes
stick.
in the stick.
That's crazy. You heard it first
But
here.
yeah, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Um,
Oh man.
so you got into, you know, you got the top 8, and then
Mhm.
I'm not sure if this was, I think it was very recently after that.
Hmm.
You and Gootecks created the show Cross Counter, and this
Yeah.
was a show that was loved by everybody. I mean, everybody in the fighting game community watched that show. And I think it was also because something like that hadn't been done yet. It almost felt like a
Yeah.
reality show, like the weekly episode that was going to come out.
Yeah.
And it hooked a lot of people. And you developed such a huge fan base. You and Ryan developed such a
Hmm.
huge fan base for the show, for your personalities, the memes that came out of it, the culture around Cross Counter. And, I was happy to be on that with my boy Brent.
That's right.
And
Trinity.
yeah, the Trinity was on there, man,
Hmm.
in 2016. So
Hmm.
I'm kind of curious about the vision for Cross Counter, how that birthed between you and Gootecks,
Yeah.
and what was the goal for it? Like, what did you want for that? Because I know that's your baby, dude. That was something special to you
Yes.
guys.
Yeah. So I mean, at the up until that point, for the most part, all you had was tournaments. That was it.
And
How do
SRK
you access?
forums.
Yeah. How do you access the fighting game community? Yeah. Right. Arcade forums and tournaments.
Yeah,
Some people will say, IRC. I mean, there's either a communication platform or you have to go to a tournament, or obviously, like an arcade meetup or
right,
something.
right.
That was the only stuff that existed. And so, both Ryan and I, we had brainstormed forever and we thought about all this stuff. And we said, we need to create something where, A, we're giving a voice, a personality of some sort. Not a personality. We didn't even use those words then. I mean, the term content creator didn't even exist then when
Right,
we were doing that, right?
right,
There was no such thing. We weren't content creators.
right. You guys were just
Um,
Mike Ross and Gootecks.
yeah, just do it. Yeah, just putting
Just
stuff out.
rip.
And like I mean, we had so many ideas. I don't want to sit here and ride myself for the,
No,
about
no,
all the
dude, this
stuff
is
we
this is the
created
show
first
for
and did
that.
stuff.
No, this is the show for
um,
that. So I want you to like,
yeah,
dude, everybody's probably dying to know you have
yeah,
years of
yeah,
fans that this is like the type of shit that people want to listen to when they're a fan of
yeah,
somebody or of something. So like
yeah.
go ahead, let that shit out.
Mm. I mean, like we were, we always joked and laughed about, we said, what the problem is, right? Is we did everything too early and they're not ready for it yet.
Mm,
Eventually, it'll come around full circle, and people are gonna say, "Hey, check out this new idea we had." And we're like, "Hey, if you actually go back 12 years, you saw we already did that." But I mean, that's just what happens. Our goal was just to present the stuff in various ways, in ways that we thought were going to be very entertaining, that we'd like to watch, because
yeah,
that's the most important thing that people forget. No matter what you're doing, is you have to do it because it's something that you want to see or you want to listen to, right? If you go into it thinking what would they like, you're already in it for the wrong reason.
right.
That's impossible. It's impossible to know what they like because they are not you. What do you like?
Yeah,
And
and
if
it's all
you like it,
subjective.
yeah, right. If you like it, it's guaranteed, maybe. But let's just say it's possible one other person will. And if you got that, that's all you need. You
Right.
grow from that.
Yeah.
And for us being, involved already in the scene for what, like 8, 9 years before anybody saw that, we already have been talking and know what we think people might want to see, without asking directly. It's just like, because we know, like we've already been involved with it for like almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So
You know
what
your
would we want to
community,
see to make?
you know your
Yeah.
audience.
Yep. And it's not even from people saying, "Oh, I wish," because nobody said, "Oh, I wish this happened." That never happened. The only time I ever heard that where it was like an in sync was when I talked to Gootecks, and him and I were both like, "You know what we need?" And he was like, and I was like, "What?" So he said, "Let's just do it."
Yeah.
So yeah, so the whole vision was it's just to show fighting games in a new light, and also to shine the spotlight not on ourselves but on others, because that's what the whole point was.
Yeah.
Going around, taking the camera, going to Canada with the camera, going to or NorCal and all that. I mean, NorCal had their own thing already, but we just wanted to show that and showcase everybody that we possibly could, to show that, look, any one of you could be, a fighting game player at a top level. Everybody, we're all cut from the same cloth, from a similar cloth, I'll say.
Right.
You know.
Right. And then the traveling aspect of it just made it feel so real as well, especially back
Mm-hmm.
then. There's just this the traveling era of
Mm-hmm.
like the 2000 of the Street Fighter 4 was just God, man, it's
Yeah,
hard.
yeah.
Because every time I talk about this, I feel like Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. You know, like you just can't help but
Like I'm
talk about that era. You can't help but
That's
talk
right.
about it, man. But especially
Hmm.
when that's how we became acquainted. That's we
Hmm.
saw each other in those travels. We saw each other
That's
during
right.
those tournaments, and just crazy, man. And Cross Counter did
Hmm.
so good. I don't even know what the final numbers were when it came to how many subscribers you guys had on YouTube and the amount of views you guys were getting, but it
Yeah.
skyrocketed so much. And I feel like people like Smug also
Hmm.
benefited off of a show like Cross Counter, and all the
Hmm.
content creators now can, like, it's like a piece of Cross Counter is within their own content. You feel me? And that's an amazing thing that you did and
Yeah.
Ryan did for the
Hmm.
community. It gave us so many different episodes. It's like that was crazy, man. It was just a crazy, crazy era, and very interesting to hear about how it got birthed. Because you guys were
Hmm.
known at the time, and you guys were loved people in the community at that
Hmm.
time. So when the show came out, it was a banger. Soon as people started talking about it. So yeah, I was just
I
very curious
also
about how that cross counter started. But go ahead.
I was gonna say too, because we were already doing episodes. Like we had done, I think only one or two at most before Evo, before I got that top 8. We had like one episode out or two episodes out. By the way, all that content is gone because of a lot of our early cross counter videos were on Machinima,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
a YouTube platform, and Machinima pulled all their videos. So all of our first stuff is gone,
Oh
which
man.
sucks. There's no proof or no evidence of any of that stuff existing,
Oh man.
which which sucks. But I was gonna say at the time, like once we first did those videos, we were like, man, I don't know if anybody's gonna watch this. And then
Mm.
Evo happened, and then I got top 8 at Evo, and we were both just like, oh, thank goodness, it brings some credibility to our to our
Yeah,
channel.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's like we aren't that bad. We kind of know what we're talking about. We're kind of decent players.
yeah, yeah.
So that all
Absolutely.
kind of helped.
And
Yeah.
I want to. I wasn't planning on talking about this, but it kind of
Mhm.
sparked an interest because this is something that I really like to dive into as well, in my own mind and in my own journey.
Mhm.
But you said something about, are people going to like this? And you also mentioned
Mhm.
earlier how, if you like it, there's bound to be
Mhm.
one other person that likes it as well. God willing, right? There's got to be at least
Mhm.
one. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Right. Yep.
But,
Mhm.
but, with that, you have to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Putting out an episode where you're on camera and you're being this personality, you're putting yourself on the chopping blocks of being judged by a lot of people. A lot of people that
Mhm.
don't know you, a lot of people that think they know you, a lot of people that have said things about you, and you're
Mhm.
opening the floodgates for people to say such negative, hateful, obsessed things about you.
Yeah.
And of course, you're going to have your fans, but you're also going to have those types of people, the ones that I was just mentioning. How
Mhm.
did you handle the criticism? How did you handle the the haters, the people that
Yeah.
made you like think about what it is that you're doing? Because I'm sure you went through that just as much as I've gone through it in my Street Fighter career.
Yeah.
So that's something where I feel like it's really helpful for people out there that to hear your story on that, because it might help them battle those types of demons when they face it in their life.
Yeah. I mean, something that, you kind of hear said a lot is, once the negativity or the haters, sorry. Yeah, once they show up, that means you're doing something right. So that's something that I knew in the back of my head. Um, I can say, I'll let you know this. It's like real time. There's so much more about actually that I got to kind of go back to
Yeah, go ahead.
with with kind of cross counter and how I'm missing one of the most important elements. A lot of people are like, oh, you and Gootecks, like you guys did it. None of that would be possible. None of it would be possible without the man behind the camera, the producer of it all, Steve Wong, um, because he was, the actual like real talent there. He was the official third member that liked to stay out, in the background.
Yeah.
Um, But I can say this too. When we were doing like Excellent Adventures, if you look back, our first videos didn't have a camera. And when Brian was like, "Yo, we should just get Steve to do this if he's down," I was hesitant because of what you just said. I was like, "Man, that means every week we're going to be putting our face out there. We're going to be, doing all this. We're going to open up the doors for criticism and stuff." And I was hesitant for that because of like what we were talking about right now. But then I know that if I feel that way, there's a bunch of people that would feel that way. So you know what? Let's just do it. Let's do the uncomfortable.
Yes.
And just get out there.
Yes.
Because, doing the uncomfortable stuff will always, you're either going to pay off or it's going to end miserably. But I couldn't see it ending unless, it's people just like, "Oh, I didn't know, I heard Mike Ross talk. He doesn't sound black." Something like, I don't know what they might say.
Yeah.
Just open myself to all of that.
I was like a Mickey Mouse, like, I don't know.
I don't know. That's how I assume that the negative people sound like. They all sound like
they have to be cartoon characters. They have to be some
the whole cartoon. Yeah.
I mean, they all have anime AVI, so it might actually be the character.
Hey,
I don't know.
Man, and you also got to remember, it's like, you're not putting thought into that negative energy, but why? I just don't get it. To actually, if you're young, it's excused. Like if you're a teenager, that's what teenagers do. They get online, they type and stuff because they don't think that the world is real. They don't think that they could actually get touched out there. They're still invincible.
Right.
So I think a lot of negativity comes from that. Either people that are really young or people that are sheltered and have never experienced anything. That's where I think a lot of negativity comes from. So you just can't let that get to you. You can't pay it any mind. Even though I'm not going to lie, no matter what, no matter who you are, anybody that says, "Oh, it doesn't affect me," that's a lie. That's absolutely a lie.
Yeah, I think the point where it starts not affecting you is when you learn how to deal with it better.
Yes.
You know how to deal with the criticism better, and then you do start developing, because it typically starts off like this, or at least from my journey, it's you want to please everybody, you want to make everybody happy. I'm not a bad person, bro. I mean, like, I make mistakes in my life, but I'm not this person that is being portrayed, the image that's being portrayed, and you feel bad, and you feel like, man, like, this isn't who I am, and like, why don't these people just understand? And then you start growing up and you start realizing that no matter what you do, if you do a good thing, they're going to talk badly about you. If you do a bad thing, they're going to talk badly about you. So you might as well do the thing that makes you happy, because no matter what, people are going to talk about you. And as you said, if you're not being talked about, then you're not doing something right. So that journey has to happen in order to make you a stronger man. Because you realize that, in the beginning, you're letting all these people get to you. And, it's funny that I'm mentioning this right now because, I had one Street Fighter League, and I posted a video where, it was just like
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Hopefully hopefully we can take it in the next 2 weeks. The World Championship is coming up, but
that's good luck on that.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. Go ahead.
I had posted like a list of tweets that people were saying, et cetera, and then it was a dope video of my performance at Street Fighter League and having all those negative comments, and that was spawned in my head because of what Tom Brady posted when he won the Super Bowl with the Bucks. He posted a video where all the negative criticism from newscasters and whatnot was in the video, and then it's him winning the Super Bowl at the end. And it was just beautifully done. So I got inspired by that video when that happened. But it's just interesting because, we see it. We see all of it. And how you choose to respond with it is what defines your character as a man. You see all of it, and how you choose to respond to it is what defines your character. And I feel like when you're younger, you make those mistakes of letting it get to you. But as you mature, and if you start learning from your lessons, learning that I don't have to feel like shit today because Smelly Dude 341 said this about me, I was never good with gamer tags, so don't crucify me for that one. But you know what I mean. You know exactly what I mean. So No, that's for anybody out there that is trying to pursue something that, you know, makes pursue something that is vulnerable, that makes them vulnerable to other people's comments. And a
Yeah.
lot of people become afraid of that very thing or don't know how to
Yeah.
respond to it, so they end up stopping believing in themselves, or they believe that
Mm-hmm.
it's not so good, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So just, if you are someone listening and you have a dream to pursue, whatever it may be, just recognize that, you know, you will face that type of hardship or criticism, I should say, but you'll learn how to handle it. You got to fall sometimes to learn how to get up. So I just wanted to input that
Right.
in there just because of
Mm-hmm.
your story with Cross Counter. So
Mm-hmm.
thanks for allowing me to share that. But
No, yeah, yeah, excellent, exactly.
um,
Can't let it get to you.
yeah. All right, let's move on to the next topic. Let's move on to the next topic. This is something very interesting to me because I wrote down here that I remember having conversations with you about esports back in
Mm-hmm.
2014, 2015, when it first started at
Ooh.
Wednesday Night Fights, and the direction that it
Okay.
was headed in. For example, things like money, cancel culture, all of
Mm.
that stuff. And you ended up
Uh,
leaving the scene for some time. So, what was the last straw for you, and what were your thoughts during that time period of hiatus? Because it's hard for a man to step away from almost guaranteed money. And you were so loved by everyone. And if anyone had the ability to make a living off of this, off of esports, it was you. So it makes me
mm,
think you had some internal battles, maybe your morals or whatever, that conflicted with the way you'd make money or what you were being a part of. I remember us talking about, like, what is the FGC becoming? And it was just,
yeah,
it was like a shifting violently, very quickly, very,
yeah,
very quickly. And you were one of the first to kind of see where it was headed 10 years down the line or so. And you weren't a fan of it. And I was scared of it. And as I
yeah,
experienced everything that was happening, I was like, man, Mike was right this whole time. So,
yeah,
what was your thought
yeah.
process during that time period? And explain a little bit of the hiatus, bro. I thought you were out in the Saharan desert, like just walking, you know?
Oh, for a bit, yeah, kind of like a little bit actually.
Okay.
A lot of just complete disconnection because I was like, man, like you had to, you get to a point where, granted, looking, it's how do I say it? I have to take a ton of accountability for stuff. I felt like in ways I opened up the doors to a lot of things that um, maybe I should or shouldn't have. That's debatable. I guess you have to look at everything. Um, you know, there's two sides to every story, right?
Right.
Let's say what I opened the doors for definitely helped a lot of people. I think. Um, some people are making. It's crazy to say these words I'm about to say. It's crazy to say that there's people that make a living playing Street Fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you understand how weird that is. You
Yeah.
understand because you went to Evo with $0 and came home with 600 without winning the tournament and
Right.
not not playing blackjack.
Right.
So you understand that, but there's people that are making 250,000. The first time in our lifetime, which is a dream. We'll talk about this too a little bit later. Somebody's going to make $1 million from playing. Um, but at the same time, it's when somebody is handing out a check, they have every right to control what can and doesn't go, right?
Right.
It's their check, their organization, their rules. Um, now things that used to go, things that used to be accepted are no longer accepted. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. Um, one of the things that I'm not too happy with is, like, we don't get to see. I mean, I know we still could, but where does corn fit in? Where does corn fit in this era? Are they? I miss going to tournaments and seeing corn pop off.
Yeah.
But I know now that's like people are quick and uptight. Hey, I'm playing a match. I don't want to hear any sound in the background. Like I get it, but this it's a gift and a curse. So I was worried that a lot of that stuff would not be allowed in tournaments anymore, and I hope there's a middle ground Um, and I think I haven't been to one of the kumites, but I think the Red Bull kumites are okay with that. But I haven't been to one, so I'm not too sure. Have you? Have you been to one?
No, I haven't been to one. That's honestly a
Okay.
tournament that I've been wanting to be invited to for a very long time, but it always seems like
Okay.
it doesn't end up on the list. But I do have to. It's an amazing tournament. I mean, Red Bull has done
Mhm,
amazing things for the community. They have.
mhm,
I've always spoken, very positively about Red Bull because it gave so many players
mhm,
opportunities, and it also gave us opportunities to make money and to travel, et cetera, et
mhm,
cetera. I mean, they hosted a lot of great tournaments. I always said the best tournaments that I had ever been to was Red Bull tournaments because
mm.
everything was just like they really took care of the player. They really focused
Yeah.
on the player and what the player's needs are, and here's the training room or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until like Red Bull kind of showed how you can take care of players at tournaments. But yeah, I mean, the esports thing that happened. I mean, I benefited off of that. I benefited big time
Yes.
off of that
It's
because things
great.
like Bud Light
Mhm,
happened and whatnot.
mhm.
Sponsorship opportunities. But one of the things that was
Yeah.
lost was the very essence of how the fighting game community started. That was lost
Yeah.
in the acceptance of the esports and the money. So would you consider it like selling your soul? Is it along the same lines as that? Because it provided so many players with an opportunity to escape
Right.
a very
Yep.
bad life, you know?
Yep.
For example, like Mena leaving the Dominican Republic, like I
Yep.
probably wants to live in the United States more than he, wants to live in the DR, and that's why he moved to United States. But that's just one example, but there's so many other players that have had an opportunity for some sort of income because of the
Yeah.
esports. So
Yep.
but you can't deny the loss of the spirit. You can't deny the
You,
loss of the
mhm.
original essence of the community. So how do you
you,
feel
you
about
know,
that?
yeah, one of the issues I think that I was seeing with people is people conforming to get their attention. And I think that was what one of the negative effects of it was causing, like, our scene. It's like people were just making up rules on the fly. Oh no, you can't do this anymore. You can't say this anymore. Don't do this, without even really being told you can't do or can't say that. People are just intentionally trying to, I guess, clean themselves up, tidy themselves up, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But it's like you were changing yourself to try to get attention from something that not necessarily was guaranteed.
Yeah, and
Um, yeah,
it's a very scary, dangerous time that we're living in, not just within the social media era and the FGC era, but just globally in general when it comes to things like cancel culture. And
yeah,
it hit the FGC very hard, very,
hmm
very hard. And I think it also hit the
hmm
FGC very hard because, as you said, there's a lot of people that were very sheltered and they don't
hmm
know how to communicate or understand social cues that well. So they believe the whole world revolves around them and how they feel. And if
yeah,
they feel a negative way, then you must be the worst human being to ever walk this planet. And they're not willing to
yeah,
look in the mirror. But that whole cancel
hmm
culture era and what it's become now, it's just, don't get me wrong, like, at work you behave professionally and you
hmm
try to behave professionally as well, but when opinions
yeah,
and things of this nature are getting um, taken to extremes
yeah.
and where players are getting banned and just other people can just say things like that, it's absolutely insane to me. It's absolutely insane to me that a culture that was bred from just hardcore personalities has turned into one of the softest communities ever. And this isn't like, I'm not underplaying this. This is, you would have to agree with me. This is one of the softest communities ever now because you are not allowed to say anything anymore. And it feels like you're choking the whole time. It's like
Oh my
you can't
god.
you can't even breathe comfortably, bro. You can't breathe comfortably. And because you're a personality as well, or you're a known player, it's like everybody's watching you. And I've
Oh
I've
man,
been through
that's so funny.
situations I've been through situations where people have literally watched me. I've
Yeah.
seen people watching me, and then I've heard things from, whether it be a developer of I don't want to go too deep into it, but I've heard things
Mhm.
from people within that are like, dude, like this person is literally trying to say X, Y, and Z about you, and they're emailing Capcom about it. Like,
Mm.
can you believe that? Like, that's an act. Like,
Yes.
I'm not a
Yes, I can.
celebrity, bro. Like, I feel like maybe like somebody like
Mhm.
Justin Bieber has to go through the
Mhm.
paparazzi, and someone like
Mhm.
Drake and Lil Wayne, whatever it may be.
Mhm.
But like, bro, I'm just a dude pressing buttons,
Mhm.
and now there's this aspect of fame attached to it, and like
Mhm.
people are waiting for you to slip up, and it's so
Yes.
you can't breathe, Mike. You literally can't
Yeah.
breathe.
100%. Because like, one approach or one way I go about it, which is surprising, is the difference between, I'll say, myself and the majority of what I see of those people doing is that, let's say let's say you say something that I highly disagree with, that I don't think is right. Um, I'm gonna think to myself, it depends what we're talking about, whether it's even worth me even bringing up to you. But if I do, I'd bring it up to you,
Of course, of
right?
course.
You know what, Chris? I disagree with what you said. I feel highly different.
Man to man.
The difference, yes,
That's
yes.
the key word right there. Man
It's
to
just,
man.
it's just, or the other issue is, you just bring it up to the person directly. The problem is, what I see today is that, like, rather than that, if I think what you said I disagree with, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to go over here and tell everybody else, because I don't want them to like you if I don't.
Yeah,
And me
yeah,
personally, if I don't like somebody, I'm okay with that, and I don't care if somebody else likes that person. I don't need to convince them. Like who you like, dislike who dislike is not. I don't think we should persuade other people. Just to they have to feel the way you do about something. Now let them
yeah,
think for themselves.
yeah.
And I don't think this is an era. We don't want people to think for themselves. We want you to think like me. We want you to like what I like. We want you to do all of this stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just a time we're in right now, and it's if you're like, if that's your thing, that's your thing. It's just I don't think some of us are cut like that.
I always try to lean on things that I've learned from my faith. See, what that is I don't like this person, so I'm gonna get
Hmm.
everybody to not like this person as well. That is the definition
Yeah.
of throwing the stones. Whoever
Yeah.
hasn't sinned, throw the first stone.
Hmm.
And what does everybody do after Jesus says that? They all drop the stones. But the
Hmm.
problem here is they don't think about that.
Yeah.
They don't have that mechanism inside of their head, and I hope they find God and find that like life lesson right there. That life lesson
Hmm.
applies so much to this. You are throwing stones at people because you think that you're better than them, and you don't want someone else to like that person as well, and so you
Yeah.
try to tarnish. That is the definition of evil. That is
Mm.
literally the definition of a demonic type of energy where you get a high off of pulling people down. There was uh somewhere I heard this where it said the only reason why people try to pull you down is because they're already beneath you.
Hmm.
They're already beneath you, so they got to reach up to pull you down.
That's correct.
And
Good.
you know,
Yeah.
I just it's very scary that so many people aren't aware of their actions, and these are grown men as well. Teenagers obviously do
Yeah.
it, and you can excuse the 15, 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old, like they're kids. Their minds
Hmm.
haven't developed yet. But these
Hmm.
are grown ass men who get a
Yeah.
high off of something like this, and I feel so sorry for them, the type of life that they've had to harbor such hatred and such a
Yeah.
disgusting way to feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
That had to
I
be
it
said.
Yeah. Yeah, it took me, believe me, I get what you're saying. It took me a long time too to realize that, you also have to understand one thing too, Chris, is that in their mind they don't see that as negative. They don't see that as hating. They don't see that as pulling down. They don't see that. So you
Yeah.
can't, like, when you can really get to that level, you can't even be mad or upset. You just have to understand, it's like you see it, your way. I get it. I see it my word. It's just it is what it is. They're never going to change, and it's never going to change because they've been doing that. Like you said, turning people against them that you don't like. They've been doing it since they were burning witches at the stake.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't like this girl. She's a witch. Guys, trust me, burn her at the stake.
Yeah.
Nothing, it's been going on forever. Now it's just different. Instead of burning them at the stake, now you cancel them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of the same thing. Now, granted, I'm not talking about people. There's some people out there that have done some really terrible stuff, and for that, teach
Of
their,
course.
that's worthy of, yeah, get them out of here. But if we're talking about, like you just said, I don't like oranges. I don't like the way they taste. Hey,
Yeah.
actually, we all love oranges, so this person that like oranges can't have them at our tournament. Like that's too extreme.
Yeah. I
And of
mean,
course, I'm using an extreme, like not real example, but you get what I'm saying.
but I mean, it's yeah. But replace oranges with another very silly little thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that could also be taken out of context. And just the fact that you had to disclose. Of course, I'm not talking about those people who have done wrong things. Like that's given. Any of
Yeah,
course,
right.
somebody who has done something that is heinous, that is absolutely heinous,
Yeah.
should at least be held accountable for it. But where is grace? Where's forgiveness?
Yeah.
Where is, you made a mistake, let me teach you, let me help you,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
not let me just
That's right. Yes.
completely
Yeah,
destroy
exactly.
your character and your
Exactly.
image. You fucking made a mistake, bro. Like this
Let
is
me help
why,
you.
like this is why you did this wrong. I forgive you. Now
Oh, that's so funny.
if you choose to do that again, then I don't
Mm-hmm.
want you in my life. But like,
Right. Exactly.
but if you,
Exactly.
it's just, there is no grace, there's no forgiveness, and it's just a very egotistical group of people that believe they deserve everyone to be just like them, and for everyone to agree with what they agree with. They want everyone to be robots, and I'm sorry, I'm not a robot. I'm still gonna say what I want to say. It's just a shame what it's turned into, and not everyone is like that. Again, I have to disclose this. Not everyone is like that, but there are a lot of people like that, and you ask any top player the type of experience they've had with just being. I remember at Canada Cup once where like the lights went out, or the venue shut down because the electricity or something, and Lapchi got so much shit for that, from people that weren't even there. And then I remember tweeting about it, like saying like, yo, like you don't even know what happened. Like Lapchi been doing this for years. And then people were telling me, oh, how was that limousine ride, you elitist fuck?
Yeah, that's right.
I was like,
yeah, I remember that.
I was like, what
I remember
limousine?
that.
I didn't get on a limousine. What are you talking about? It's just, how do you it's like a 12-year-old's imagination. It's like they're stuck inside of being 12 years old. So I don't know. We could talk about this for hours and hours, but and I'm sure the people listening, there's got to be some people that feel the way that we do. And if you are one of those people, hey, I forgive you. Stop being immature and accept some Christ in your life and forgive some people, and you'll feel so much better. So let's go on to the next topic.
I was just gonna say one more. Just next time you get hit with that, from people that hit you with that ignorance, how was that limousine? You just respond like, it was cool, but we ran out of champagne early, so it could have been a lot better.
That's
just
actually
hit him with that.
Hey, that's
right, just hit him. Yeah, the limousine was great. It was really good. We had it was stretched. We had like all these dancers in there. You just give them that.
Oh yeah, just fabricated like crazy because
they're
just
already fabricated even more.
They probably have an even worse image of what happened.
Yeah. Right.
So you might as well.
They're coming at you with right, exactly, exactly. They're coming at you with something not true, so you expand on it and make it even more unbelievable, just to see their response. Okay.
Yeah, we gotta
gave
learn.
each of us 20 grand.
We gotta learn how to love people again. We gotta learn how to love human beings again.
Oh man,
there's
that's so good.
I don't even know if that even existed, but we just need to learn how to love. There's a lot of love that is not happening within your minds, and
that's true.
That we got to learn to love people. Period.
Dang, you're 100% right.
Let's move on to the next topic. I wanted to ask you about you coming back to the FGC. That kind of happened out of nowhere. Obviously, you're a very big personality, everybody, and I mean everybody from, okay, maybe not everybody, because you got haters too, right? We just talked about it.
100%.
But you're
Yeah, I can
very
show you
loved.
messages. Yeah.
Yeah, you're very loved
Mhm.
within the community, and people were very
Mhm.
happy to see you back. When you came back, you and Xian now have a team called Versus
Mhm.
Vortex.
Oh yeah.
What exactly is Versus Vortex? Is it like the traditional sponsor like EG? I just thought of them for as an example. What type of
Yeah.
content are you guys focused on? Because I've seen content where you and Xian create funny clips from like ranked matches
Hmm.
or bets or whatever it may
Yeah.
be. So I want to know the goal of Versus Vortex, and I just want to throw this in there as well. If there was a sponsor I would trust, it would be
Mhm.
Versus Vortex, because you and Cien have been players. You know the harsh realities of being sponsored
Yeah.
and what that feels like from the player perspective. So how do you
Mhm.
like ensure that comfort for players entering your team, and what exactly is Versus Vortex?
Uh, so it is not a sponsor.
Okay.
Um, yeah, just to be clear, for right now, it might be in the future. That would
Hmm.
be a great thing.
Yeah, because we played against them in
Um,
Street Fighter League, so that's what I was
that's
thinking.
right. Yes, you did. Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you did. So kind of like it all kind of started. I mean, ooh, that's a quite a bit of a story. But let me just put it like this: both Sienna and I were in like very similar situations. I think not, in life, we're like, yo, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You good? Eh. Six is coming out, right? Yeah, you playing it? Yeah, we'll get ready for it. Um, and also, I mean, there's a lot of people. I don't know if they want their names mentioned. I'm just gonna be honest.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have to
I
mention
say
it.
it, I say it in videos, and he kind of like, no, he wants to stay low key,
Okay.
but it's also kind of his, his baby where he can play with some tech equipment. So that's why like a lot of our stuff is just it's very random. Um, One of the things that both Cian and I needed to do was just kind of just stay active, kind of stay busy and have some fun. And I mean, you probably I don't know if you can tell, but Cian legit is like one of the funniest people on planet Earth, and he doesn't even try to be. Like the dude is just so naturally funny.
Yeah.
Um, but also, like we just wanted to. It's we're doing it out there in Singapore, and it's a good tool out in Singapore, out in Southeast Asia, because we created a platform where other brands, we've played a lot of random games, can showcase some of their stuff with us. Granted, yes, both Cian and I have the fighting game background, but we're opening doors to a lot of other game devs to work with us, which has been pretty cool.
Wow.
It's
Congratulations
actually
on
been
that.
been kind of crazy. Yeah, like because of doing all this stuff, they got me to host a segment for Gamescom Asia out there because they see it's like, oh, you guys have a body of work now. Um, but yeah, long term goals, we don't know. We're just gonna keep going you know, until the internet goes down or
Yeah.
something. We'll
So
just,
like, so is it's different from Cross Counter. Like what? So then
mm,
I thought it was a sponsor. So then what is it like?
yes,
Content creation? Is it like providing a platform for players to?
I guess. So right. So again, like what I mentioned before is when we were doing this stuff way back with cross counter, content creator wasn't even a term. It wasn't even a thing. I guess you can say with this is now in the content creator realm, where it's like we're doing um, shorts, we're doing all kind of stuff with videos. We're taking, something that we didn't, something I should say I didn't do before was just, if a company wanted to have us play a game and put it on the channel, which you just say yes right away. Before I was like, no, you got to be kind of careful with what you pick.
Hmm.
But now it's like, hey, now we can open up. It doesn't have to be a fighting game anymore. It can be anything.
I
So
see. I
yeah, it's
see.
mainly just a bunch of various stuff. And to touch on that, you did kind of see a potential in sponsorship with fighting game stuff. Like I said,
Yeah.
I don't want to say it is yet because it's not official. So let's just wait on that.
Okay, I got you. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
that's amazing to see, both of you
Yeah.
guys succeeding from something like
Yeah.
that, because you were one of the pioneers of it, and
Mhm.
Cien's always been, dude. Cien came out of fucking Singapore, bro. Like, how many players were in
Yeah.
Singapore at that time period as good as Cien,
Right.
except for
Right.
Gact, right? Gact
Yep.
was
Yeah.
another one,
Yeah.
but
Yep. Yep.
Cien was literally the only guy from that
Hmm.
scene that really just excelled
Yeah.
and got to the point to where he won
Yeah.
Evo. And
Yep.
anyone that has that type of work ethic and the geniusness to be able to do what he's done deserves to be able to make a living off of his baby, this journey that
Yep.
he's been on as well. I can't wait to have Xian on here. We had great talks at Street
Yeah.
Fighter League. I mean, he's somebody that I look up to a lot when it comes to the mental aspect of the game. That's the
Oh
thing. Like,
yeah.
I've been competing against these players for so long, but
Yep.
I still have to recognize the greatness that is in front of me and how I can learn from them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm sure if
Yeah.
me and Xian played a first to 10, that either one of us would win. But I'm still going to approach him as a student mindset of trying to figure out, like, man, how does your brain work? Because it's just crazy. It's so crazy. And that wasn't, I hope I didn't make any other Singaporean player feel bad. I wasn't trying to, discredit anybody else. Just wanted to highlight the great things that Xian had done. But I'm sure there's a lot of killers out there, especially now.
Yeah. 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 The hunger is starting to pick up out there, but also, like, one thing too is that dude is like an icon out there. He's an icon in Southeast Asia. I mean, I like that. Just you leave Singapore, you go to Malaysia, you go to a store, and you'll literally see his face in like electronic stores with his advertisements from from various products. Like, Xian is actually like an icon out in Asia, so it's super cool to see that.
Yeah, and that's what I was essentially trying to highlight, was the icon that he became from being in an area that had not really been known for Street Fighter, at least in that era,
He put it on the map. He put Singapore on the map.
Yeah,
Can't deny that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man, I hate to end the conversation with you, but the last thing I wanted to ask you was what's next for you? Because you're a very unpredictable man. I don't know if I'm not going to see you for another 17 years or so, and then I'll see you again at some random tournament in the future, and then we'll still chop it up like everything is the same. But I'm asking, like, you've had a ton of success in the media aspect of the game. Are we going to ever see you try to compete again with that 100-hand slap?
I'm not gonna say. Obviously, I'd be crazy to say no.
Yeah,
it'd be crazy to say,
but
that.
not like before the competitive drive. Yeah,
I can't even say that. I can't
said you're
even say that.
unpredictable.
I never, you never know. One thing I do want to mention to you, I have to bring this up, because you said, I left FGC and came back with versus Vortex. I do have to say something. One thing I want to do, and I'm sorry to do this, but it was kind of something I wanted to see, because I didn't know what it meant to leave. I didn't think it was possible to leave the FGC unless you just don't play anything. Like, you're just completely, like, you just don't play the games, you don't follow it. I consider people part of it if they've never gone to a tournament and they just watch. One thing I wanted to do is, I know I was doing so much at once. Like, I from everything I was doing, from cross counter to Twitch to IGN to tournaments to celebrity integrations, all kind of crazy stuff was happening all at the same time. And I said, you know what I want to do is, I just want to play the game and enjoy the game. And I want to find a game that I love. And I said, let me try Xrd. And I played Xrd. And I didn't realize that that's probably like the best fighting game ever. It's insanely good. And what I was doing was, I was going to tournaments. I was going to weeklies. But I wasn't making any content. So, I know a lot of people said that I left. But did I? If I was still going, I would go to what was it, Esports Arena? I think sometimes, for Xrd. But I noticed, I was like, dang, this is kind of crazy. Is I'm still in the room with everybody else. I'm just playing a game over in this corner, and there's not the same attention over here. This game is good. The competition is great. But, it's crazy that people still say that I'm gone, but I'm actually just a few rows back playing in a tournament right now.
Well, that kind of makes me feel weird, because I could have sworn you disappeared, bro.
I know.
Literally nobody heard from you for a long time. But I'm sure I do remember you coming back slowly, like appearing at random events here and there, but you weren't like, active.
Granted, I understand. Yeah, and that, that's true. But I wasn't trying to be. I wasn't I wasn't tweeting. I wasn't putting out any videos. Yeah, in fact, I deleted Twitter because I was like, I at that time I thought it was too much negativity on Twitter, so I didn't want to be a part of it.
Oh,
But
well, it's
now that
more
I'm
now,
back
so.
and Twitter's I was about to say, yeah, it's all gone now. Twitter's completely positive now, right?
Hell no.
So yeah, but no, it's just good. I just want to let you know that I was always playing and always watching, and I was going to random tournaments. I I entered under the name Some Dumb Goy and went to Europe for a Guilty Gear tournament by myself.
Hell yeah. That's the dream.
Yeah, I was just, yeah, I was. Hey, if I could, that literally is what you just said. Is the dream to be able to just do that
Yeah.
and be in a position to where you could pull that off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just yes, and like you said, I'm very random, so I don't know. I can't sit here and tell you what it's going to look like for me a year from now. The hunger to compete, I wish I still had that hunger that I did years back.
So
Even that I
hard,
had
man. It's so
right,
hard.
and I one thing I love though is to watch that hunger in others. And that's why it also killed me because I this was supposed to be your year. I was supposed to be Kamofin giving you that call saying this is your year for Evo.
Mm,
And that's why, I was saying, hey man, just if you could take my spot, just take the spot.
yeah.
Because I know that, you were going to wreck shop because you had been, being very consistent in your placings up until Evo.
Yeah.
In whatever weekly online tournaments. So I wanted to see that.
Yeah.
But hey, at least you got to show it in Street Fighter League. So
Man, I'm just glad Mena carried like a motherfucker, but hey, that nobody will take that. Nobody's gonna take that ring away from me when I eventually
That's right.
get it. But hopefully, in the World Championships, my team can handle it, including myself. I want to be able to
Yeah, of
perform
course.
to my best ability, and
Hmm.
that'll be an amazing dream come true, Mike. That to say that I have a World Championship title, that would be an amazing dream come true. But all right, that's gonna do it for us, man. What an interesting episode. Wow.
Yeah, this was fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the show, brother. I really appreciate you, man. Always good vibes
Well,
with you. And to everybody listening, can you give them where they can follow you, all of that good stuff, like obviously support versus
yeah,
Vortex, so subscribe to whatever they
yeah.
put out.
Yeah, on YouTube, check out the Versus Vortex channel. On Twitter, I think it's that Mike Ross guy. I think that's my Twitter account.
Yeah,
And on Twitch, just twitch.tv/Mike Ross. I'm streaming a bunch of random stuff and eventually again, but took a little break, so I'm coming back probably around this time once this drops.
nice. All right, well, again, shout outs to everybody that tuned in. God bless you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. I really appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I hope you have a great night. Peace.